Now let's talk about something a bit more pleasant,
There we go.
maybe. So, you have the bone-crushing hyenas, which are the spotted hyenas, the striped hyenas, and the brown hyenas. But there's also another species of hyena, and it's very different because those are all bone-crushing hyenas. There's actually a species of dog-like hyena. And you might be thinking to yourself, hang on now, I thought they were already pretty dog-like. Well, these ones are a bit more different. And there's only one surviving species of dog-like hyena. It's called the aardwolf.
Okay.
And they are much smaller than regular hyenas.
Okay.
And they eat termites.
Okay.
They're termite eaters. They in a single night they can eat like 100, like huge amount. Is it 100,000 tons anyway of termites?
Oh my god.
And the thing is, a lot of farmers in Africa see this aardwolf coming around their property.
That was the best I've done in a while. Not my best, my second best. But
Yeah.
like...
But a lot of them are like, we don't want these around because we think these might attack our livestock.
Livestock, yeah.
And the answer is no, they won't. In fact, they eat termites. So literally, you're probably much better off having them around. Because if there's any termites around, they're going to eat them. You know? But another unfortunate thing is that even if a lot of farmers in Africa know about this, they might still kill them for their pelt.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense because it makes me sad as a vegetarian. Like, obviously, I don't want animals to be killed at all for their pelts. Unless, of course, I kind of get it when they live in countries that are like super cold and they have no choice. Oh shit.
But they put on fur.
Yeah, like I personally, here in Ireland, we do not need fur.
No, Ireland can get cold sometimes, but it's nowhere near the coldest.
Yeah, like
country.
we do not need fur here.
Like northern Finland is often what comes to my head when I think.
Yeah,
cold.
or like Eskimos and stuff like that. You know, like yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, there's a lot of places like that. So anyway, so that's that one. That's one group of feliforms. You also have the Malagasy mongooses, which most people will not be aware of, except for one possible species, and that's because of one movie. So, have you seen the movie Madagascar, Kathlynn?
Yes, I've seen all of Madagascar. I love Madagascar. The last one's my favorite one.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I love when they go to the.
If it's a spoiler,
it's the circus one.
Okay, that's fine.
Actually, it was my godson's favorite one too. It's the one he always wanted to watch, and I was always happy with that because I loved watching it.
Interesting. So I don't know about. I've only seen the first one myself, so I don't know about the others. But harken back at least to the first one. Do you remember the villains in the first movie?
It was there villains?
Yeah, the ones who wanted to eat the lemurs. If you can't remember, you can just say so.
It was like they were like cheetah. They were like a type of hyena, weren't they?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people look at them and think something like that. They were actually fossa. Fossa. Which are basically Madagascar is kind of a crazy place when it comes to ecology. Like the biodiversity there is insane given its size. Like not to belittle Madagascar because it's a very big island, but it's still an island in the end, you know?
Yeah.
And yet the amount of diversity there is like on par with like huge swathes of Africa. It's crazy. But mammals weren't originally in Madagascar, you see. And the mammals that got there, like before humans arrived,
Why did they do that?
came by rafting. They rafted over from Africa, and that came in various groups. Like you had your lemurs; they were the first ones to arrive in Madagascar, which is also probably why they're the most diverse. But then was followed up by
I'll just have to go there.
Followed up with tenrics, and then rodents arrived, and then after that came mongooses. And mongooses have had like about 20 million years of evolution on Madagascar, separate to the mongooses of Africa. And the fossa have become quite cat-like in appearance, independently of actual cats.
Just leave that there for now, because...
I would probably have had it be upside down.
Yeah, I probably should have done it upside down, but it's I want that long guy. Just to do that for now, and then I know I kind of fucked up again.
But yeah, the fossa. So they're very cat-like in appearance. And which, I mean, yeah, if you think, like, in Madagascar, the movie, a lot of people would have probably assumed that they were some kind of, you said, like, a cheetah thing, then you brought up hyena, that kind of stuff. But they're actually fossa. And they're also quite grim when it comes to their mating practice as well.
Oh, do they?
So they practice, at least sexually, polyandry.
Okay.
Which is one woman, multiple men.
Oh, of course.
And so what happens, you see, is the woman climbs up a tree and starts making noises at the top. And then all of the males kind of line up below. And they take turns mating with her.
As you do, yes.
And the whole time she's howling. And in all likelihood, she's howling because of pain. And there's a reason for that. So, you remember how the favorite thing you like to always bring up when I talk about cats?
Oh, the barbed penis.
Yep. So if you thought that was bad in a cat, it's worse in the fossa.
Oh, no.
Because the barbs go backwards.
Oh.
It goes in easy, but then latches on as it tries to come out.
That sounds... Those poor animals, like, Jesus.
Yeah. And also, the fossas have huge penises. Like, they are actually the length of their own leg. Like, that is how long they are. So, they are huge.
Okay, I love it.
They latch on. I saw footage of two fossa trying to remove it. And they were really struggling. They had to pull really hard to get it, like, to come apart.
Oh, fuck, I didn't do that bit.
So, that was quite grim to see. And it was funny because in the comments, the YouTube video comments, there was one that was great where it's like, at 32 seconds into the video, oh, if I die, I want to be reincarnated as this animal. 3 minutes in, no. It's like, no, I don't want to be reincarnated as an animal. I do not.
Yeah, why would you ever want to be reincarnated like an animal like that? Shit.
It's just funny. So they're very interesting animals.
Three. Darn.
And then you have the viverids, which, do you know civets?
No.
Okay, so they're an animal. What about a binturong?
No.
Okay. Binturongs are interesting in that apparently their fur smells like buttered popcorn.
Okay.
Which a lot of people quite like. You know, in the grand scheme of animal smells, buttered popcorn isn't the worst, is it?
No.
But they come from Southeast Asia, and they are one of the few felid, not felid,
Okay, I'll just do that here for
not
now.
a lot of great options, but
No, there wasn't that many good options, so...
they're one of the few
okay.
feliforms that are actually omnivorous, as in they eat more than just meat. Like, I watched a binturong eat a banana one time.
Okay.
And I was like, not in person, on like a video. And it's like, it's interesting because it's a feliform that, you know, isn't carnivorous, you know?
Yeah.
Now, they will eat, like, you know, small rodents or reptiles if they get the opportunity. But, like, they primarily actually eat fruit.
Don't know why I swapped that, but... That, yeah.
Which is interesting. Besides that, and then you get to the felids, I guess, the most famous of the feliforms, I would say.
Yeah.
Which obviously includes all of the animals that we would consider to be, at least generally, maybe there's a few exceptions, but most animals we would consider to be cats. There's quite a diversity within it, actually. Tons and tons of different types of cats. Far more than what we know as, you know, as we would normally. Like, for instance, you've just failed, so
yeah.
I may as well bring this up now because you can actually pay attention to me. Have you ever heard of an ocelot?
I have heard of them, but I can't remember what they look like or anything.
So they're from Central to South America. I think
Okay.
maybe even a little bit in the United States. And they're considered to be a medium-sized cat. They're like 9 to 15 kilos, maybe.
Okay.
Which, you know, that's way bigger than a domestic cat generally. Let's move back one step. So, basically, when cats became a thing, they diverged into two groups. And the two groups are kind of defined by one aspect between them. The cats that can purr and the cats that can roar. Because apparently their bone in their throat is formed differently, apparently.
I did that because I already blocked the
Yeah, that's
last
fine.
line, so I was like, do you know what? Fuck it.
I get it. So like for instance, you know, in terms of the large cats that can roar, obviously there's the tiger. You know, we've all heard a tiger roar, haven't we?
Yeah.
Lions, jaguars, leopards, snow leopards, and then you also have clouded leopards. I don't know if you know them.
I don't think so.
That's fair.
Oh fuck, that wasn't where I wanted to go, but it's fine.
But like for instance, some of the cats we would consider to be large cats are not actually considered to be large cats, because of the fact that they can't roar. So for instance, the cheetah isn't considered to be a large cat, even though it is quite large for a cat. Same thing with the cougar, or the mountain lion as they call it in America sometimes. Here we go. Okay, so
I'll get there.
you will get there eventually. You just got to be quicker, and also you need to try to leave less gaps.
Yeah, no,
It's tough. I get it.
it's because normally I was building for Tetris, but it's like this one I realized building for Tetris was a waste of my time.
But it's not necessarily a waste as long as it doesn't impede your ability to like clear lines. That is interesting because, you know, a lot of people would expect cougars and cheetahs to be considered large cats. I mean, physically they are, but not, what's the term? Taxonomically?
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like totally fucked again, but sure.
So yeah, interesting group. Carnivora. Very interesting group. Now let's talk about something else. So actually, last time, Kathlynn, you mentioned this chap because of the fact that you mixed him up with someone else.
Which chap was this?
Well, I was talking about Don Bluth, but you
Oh.
accidentally mixed up with Ralph Bakshi.
Yes.
So I thought it might be interesting to just briefly touch on Ralph Bakshi. Now, I'm not nearly as familiar with Ralph Bakshi's movies as Don Bluth's. A big part of that is that I just haven't been able to find copies of them.
They're probably. Yeah. I think one of my friends recently said that she's actually gone to buying more. She actually doesn't like to buy video games even as digital downloads because she says, especially what happened when they took some games off the PlayStation Network and stuff, that she kind of realized they're never really yours.
Yeah, they aren't, really.
Which she was like, what's the point of buying the game if it's never really going to be yours? Which I kind of get.
I kind of get that too.
So, but she's saying she's doing it with movies now.
Now on Steam, I don't really have a choice on PC, like, because you pretty much have to buy digitally. But
yeah, she actually said that even with movies, she's going to try to get
physical copies.
physical copies.
Yeah,
if possible. Only if possible.
If possible, yeah. That I'm completely in that boat myself in terms of like I'd like to have the physical copies of movies and stuff and TV series and everything.
Nothing really good to go anywhere with that.
But back to Ralph Bakshi. So Ralph Bakshi, very important figure in American animation. One of his most, is this still his most financially successful movie? His first feature film was a movie called Fritz the Cat. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one, Kate.
So no.
It was, which year was it? I'm trying to remember, was it the late 60s or early 70s? But you know what? Actually, let me grab my iPad. I can look this up. Sorry for the creaky chair, folks. Did not mean to do that. So if I look up Fritz the cat, and there's a good reference to Fritz actually in Wizards, which is the one you and I have seen.
Oh yeah.
But I can get onto that maybe once I start talking about Wizards. 1972 was Fritz the cat. Okay. So, so Fritz the cat is a 1972 American adult animated black comedy film. Also worth noting that there's very strong erotic elements to it. So, for instance, here's a good one. His poster, Fritz the Cat's poster, the tagline is, "We're not rated X for nothing, baby."
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of very kind of politically incorrect, but also kind of very like politically driven messaging in it. Like for instance, yeah, characters in it tend to be represented by animals that are often caricatures of, you know.
Yeah.
So for instance, let's take the police. The police are all pigs.
Yeah, I get that.
But then some other ones maybe, you know, a little bit iffy on the side. But also there was a lot of sexual content in there. There's some kind of... keep in mind, folks, I haven't actually seen this movie. So this is all me like going through what I've heard about it, or if I've seen little clips of it, or something like that. But apparently there's like an orgy in a bathtub. At one point there's like a big cat orgy in a bathtub, and the police break in and they all have to like jump out of the bathtub.
Okay.
And here's like, there's like a screenshot. Fritz is picking up a bunch of women at a park. Actually, could you hit pause for a second? I just want to quickly showcase them. This is like a shot from it.
Okay.
So you can see, like, it's quite
Actually, there is a
simple-ish.
comment, right, that I've seen online. It makes sense. A lot of the time when they draw animals that kind of draw them human-like, a lot of the time the female animals still look somewhat human more than the male animals. Like, he looks more like an animal than the girls do. They still look more human.
Yeah,
And actually, no, I saw a video. I can't remember where I saw it. It just popped up, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're right."
they're completely right, because a good example of that is if we talk about Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Pac-Man is just a circle, and then Miss Pac-Man is a circle with a bow. So
But that still, they just look like circles with a bow. But it's like the whole point was the female animals look more human than the male animals.
and that's because they do more to emphasize that they're female.
Yeah.
In contrast to the male characters, where they often are sufficient to just have them look like the actual
Animal. Yeah.
like
Because if you think about it, even Lola Bunny, even though
Yeah,
she does
her.
still look like a bunny, she looks more human-like than Bugs Bunny does.
and that's because, well, for her, in her case, so Lola is
Yeah.
an interesting choice because
Because she's also they also wanted her.
they
to
wanted
be
her to be sexual, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, that was the whole point. Actually, the video.
So
was
they were
that.
like, you're gonna feel more sexually attracted to this bunny that kind of looks like a human than bunny that looks like an actual bunny.
Yeah. Like, yeah. It's just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I never thought about it until I was watching the video, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I think the same thing can be said for, like, actually, let's take an example that we know of. So, do you remember last time we were talking about Don Bluth, and I mentioned the Pebble and the Penguin?
Yeah, keep talking, I'll go back to this one.
So, if you think about the way the female is drawn in that compared to the male character, I mean, okay, they're both wearing forms of clothing. So that's one thing that makes them look maybe a little less animal-like. But she has what look like, you know, human female chest. You
Yes.
know? Not full-on, you know, breasts per se, but like, you know, basically she has a little bit of an hourglass figure. You know what I mean?
3 left.
Got close. And the thing is, she's a bird. So,
Yeah.
so birds don't need that.
Yeah, but even when you look at it, Lola Bunny, when you think about it, also had like boobs.
Yeah, but it makes more sense in a bunny because at least they're a mammal that produces milk.
True, I guess, but like,
Whereas a bird
did
doesn't.
she really need the boobs?
If they wanted to make her sexual, then yes, they did.
Like, she didn't really need the boobs.
Well, it depends.
Or the hips. Was she hot? Yes, of course, Lola Bunny's hot.
But-
But like,
what was their marketing strategy behind her? Was it to have her be sexual?
I think it was.
Then in that case, they needed the boobs and the hips.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they wanted her to be sexual. No, do I love Lola Bunny? Yeah, I do. Also, she's kind of... I like her too for other reasons. Like, she's very sassy. And I do like a sassy female, I'm going to be honest. Or even a sassy male. I like sass. I actually do.
That's like why you like Meg from Hercules.
Okay, in my defense, a lot of people like Meg from Hercules, but yes, she's a sassy queen, and I love that. But there is something about sass. It's just nice, do you know?
That's fair. But so I'm not super familiar with Lola Bunny because she's a relatively... Am I correct with this? Was she introduced in Space Jam? Was that her first appearance? It was, right?
I'm not actually 100% sure.
You know what? I have my iPad in front of me.
Might actually have to look that up. I'm actually going to be honest. I'm actually not sure when she was first introduced.
I'm pretty sure it's that, but let me just double check this. She first appeared in the 1996 film Space Jam.
So she was introduced in Space Jam. Okay, no, I actually just... When you brought it up there, I actually wasn't like 100% sure when she was introduced.
Oh, you did?
Oh, okay. Sorry, lads. That took a while. And I got 2 stars. I actually did it.
Sorry.
I did it in the first one.
I just had to laugh because we were talking about how sexualized she is. Take a look at this picture. This is her picture on Wikipedia.
Yeah. You can see she has the hips, she has the boobs. She actually has a chest.
She has the crop top so you can see her belly.
Yeah. Actually, when I think about it, though, a Sonic suit... Actually, when I think about it, even in Sonic, the girls look more human because they're given more clothing.
Yeah. Like I was about to say with...
No, they don't look as human as, let's say, Lola Bunny.
Well, no.
But, like...
Well, for one, like, Amy Rose isn't meant to be as sexualized.
No, and even Cream. It's just they gave them clothing probably because they're girls. They just gave them clothing.
However, in...
Reach level 18 within a minute. Okay, Puyo.
I don't know what that means. Level 18.
So 3 levels to clear. Okay.
Oh, this is Tiny Puyo, is it?
Yeah, I guess. I'll just...
Man, I was gonna look something else up. Do you remember what I was gonna look up?
Was Amy and Cream.
Oh, yeah, but there is actually an older Sonic character who does look quite sexualized, which is odd because it's older, you know?
Who?
So I think her name... Oh,
I'm cleared.
I just want to double check.
I apparently finished it. So.
Well, keep doing your best because you might get more stars. You got an all clear. Oh my god, are you gonna get 3 stars?
No.
Here we go. Okay, I got a picture of her up. Let's see how many stars you get. 2. That's good. Okay, before you go on, this is the character I was talking about.